Book review: Jaeda the Dillinger Chronicles Book 4 by Kimberly Brown. Kimberly Brown's Jaeda, the fourth installment in the Dillinger Chronicles, delivers masterful blend of romantic suspense, emotional depth, and tech-fueled tension, all wrapped in character-driven narrative that elevates the quieter voices often left on the sidelines of action-oriented fiction. Where the earlier books in the series thrived on explosive drama and bold, high-stakes missions, Jaeda, something more intimate and psychologically rich, slow-burn love story between two people who communicate better in code than conversation, and who discover that vulnerability is the most powerful form of courage. Plot summary: in Jaeda, the fourth installment of the Dillinger Chronicles, Kimberly Brown turns the spotlight on the quietest member of the formidable Dillinger clan. Jaeda Dillinger has always been the reserved sibling, preferring the quiet of data streams and intelligence, gathering to the noise and chaos of her family's action-packed covert missions. Is the tech genius behind the Dillinger family's Black Ops enterprise. She thrives in solitude, hiding behind her and guarded walls. While her siblings have found love in the most unexpected of places, Jaeda has convinced herself that romance simply isn't part of her story. Until her most protected digital vault is breached by mystery hacker. That hacker turns out to be Quaid Michaels, reclusive cybersecurity savant whose admiration for Jaeda began long before he dared to cross her firewalls. Quaid is as introverted as Jaeda, living life immersed in code in ethical gray areas. What began as innocent curiosity and distant respect evolves into something more obsessive and dangerously personal when he detects vulnerability in her system and acts on impulse, breaking into her files in misguided attempt to help. He expects firewalls and code backlashes, not the cold barrel of Gunner, the wrath of her fiercely protective family. Despite the volatile introduction, something crackles between Jaeda and Quaid. She is furious but intrigued. He's terrified but captivated. What begins a standoff between opposing forces, one protecting, the other exposing, shifts into tentative collaboration when larger threat emerges. The breach, it turns out, is just the beginning. Someone is targeting Jaeda's work, and only Quaid's unconventional skills can help her trace the threat back to its source. Forced into close quarters and reluctantly trusting each other, Jaeda and Quaid form partnership that blends her strategic mind with his technical brilliance. Beneath their guarded exteriors lies shared vulnerability. Both have been shaped by isolation, both driven by the need to protect others, and both have kept love at arm's length. Until now, as they navigate encrypted trails, hidden motives, and family interference, their connection deepens, sparks intellectual admiration evolve into emotional and physical attraction. Jaeda begins to see that love doesn't have to be allowed to be strong, and Quaid learns that courage isn't always about confrontation. It's about showing up even when it's terrifying. But the ghosts of their past and the very real danger of their present refuse to let go easily. When Jaeda's trust is put to the test and Quaid's own secrets threaten to unravel everything, the couple must decide whether what they're building is real or just another beautiful illusion doomed to fall apart. In pulse-bounding climax, Jaeda must use every ounce of her intellect and inner strength to confront threat that strikes at the heart of her family. Future with Quaid, with the Dillingers backing her and Quaid proving his loyalty in the most unexpected way. Jaeda steps into power she never fully claimed before, not just as the quiet genius of the family, but as woman fighting for the life and the love she's finally willing to claim. Jaeda is deeply emotional, slow-burn romance that combines high-stakes suspense with intimate, character-driven storytelling. Kimberly Brown continues to expand the world of Dillingers with thoughtful exploration of vulnerability, trust, and the beauty of love that grows quietly but fiercely. Fans of intelligent, introvert-centered romance with backdrop of action and family loyalty will find this compelling and satisfying addition to the series. A heroine unlike any other. Jaeda Dillinger is unlike her more boisterous, guns-blazing siblings. She's quiet, introverted, and highly analytical. In many ways, she's the heart of the Dillinger operation, albeit from behind the scenes. She's the one who secures their data, traces enemies through digital fingerprints, and provides the intellectual muscle behind many of their tactical successes. But her self-perception is rooted in being less than less brave, adventurous, less capable of love. Her internal narrative is one of diminished worth, even as she holds the family's most critical infrastructure together. Brown's portrayal of Jaeda is deeply empathetic. The reader is invited into the mind of a woman who has learned to equate silence with safety, solitude with survival. Her intelligence is never in question, but her emotional hesitations, her reluctance to open herself to love or even friendship outside her family, form the emotional arc of the novel. Jaeda is not traditional romantic heroine, and that is exactly what makes her so compelling. She doesn't fall easily, she doesn't swoon, and she doesn't shed her armor overnight. She evolves slowly, resisting the idea of needing anyone until circumstances and one very persistent hacker force her to reevaluate. A hacker with a heart. Enter Quaid Michaels, man who initially appears to be Jaeda's nemesis. When her secure systems are breached, Jaeda assumes the worst. A hostile incursion by faceless cybercriminal. What she finds instead is something far more confusing. Quaid, fellow introvert, brilliant code slinger who has been watching her from afar, driven not by malice but by adoration. His breach wasn't meant to harm. It was a misguided attempt to warn her of vulnerabilities and proof. Worth at first glance, Quaid seems to exist in the same emotional hemisphere as Jaeda. Quiet, cautious, logical default. But as the narrative unfolds, it becomes clear that Quaid's quietness hides not just genius but longing. He has spent so much of his life buried in logic that he doesn't know what to do when real messy emotions rise to the surface. His fixation on Jaeda could have veered into creepy territory in the hands of less capable writers. But Brown renders him with such complexity and respect that his actions feel understandable, if not always justifiable. Quaid is refreshingly unconventional love interest. He's not alpha, not cocky, not trying to dominate the page. He's a man who leads with humility and intelligence, who wins Jaeda over not with big gestures but with quiet consistency. His growth, both emotionally and ethically, is one of the novel's most rewarding threads. Love in the Age of Firewalls, the relationship that develops between Jaeda and Quaid is slow, tentative, and exquisitely earned. There's no install of here, no swooping declarations. Instead, Brown crafts romance that reflects the unique emotional languages of her protagonists. Their bond begins through shared intellectual challenge. Two brilliant minds circling each other in tense game of digital chess, and blossoms through mutual respect and unspoken understanding. Their dialogue is filled with the kind of careful pauses and coded admissions that feel truer to life than any passionate monologue. They communicate not just in words but in action, in Jaeda allowing Quaid access to her systems and Quaid backing her plays without needing credit. In the way they each make space for the other's silence, the romance is quiet, but it is no less intense for it. In fact, its restraint makes its eventual consummation all more powerful. When they finally do admit their feelings, the emotional payoff is immense, because it has been so carefully, so deliberately built. Brown also explores the idea that love doesn't require loudness to be valid. Through Jaeda and Quaid, she makes compelling argument for kind of introverted passion, one that's steady, deeply rooted, and resilient. It's romance not of fireworks, but of signal fires, burning brightly, quietly for the one person meant to see them. Emily trusts in a little gunfire. While Jaeda narrows its lens to focus primarily on its two leads, it never forgets the broader world of the Dillinger family. The rest of the clan is present, offering both comedic relief and emotional stakes. Their reactions to Quaid's intrusion, equal parts protective fury and grudging curiosity, add layer of tension and familial realism to the story. The Dillingers may operate like Black Ops team, but they are family first, and watching them circle the wagons around Jaeda is both heartwarming and a little terrifying. Jaeda's relationship with her family is also subtly shifting throughout the novel. While she's always been the quiet one, Jaeda shows her asserting herself in new and meaningful ways. She challenges her siblings' assumptions about passivity. She makes decisions based on her own emotional compass, not just a mission plan. And ultimately, she claims not only love, but also her own identity within the family. The suspense element of the novel, centered around deeper cyber threat that Quaid helps expose, is tightly woven and keeps the stakes high without overshadowing the romance. The pacing is deliberate but never slow. Every chapter serves to deepen character, tighten tension, or build connection. Brown's handling of technical elements is accessible enough for lay readers, accurate enough for those with tech background, and always in service of the story. Writing style and emotional resonance. Kimberly Brown's writing shines in Jaeda. Her prose is elegant and measured, mirroring the personalities of her main characters. She avoids melodrama and leans into emotional nuance. Her internal monologues, particularly Jaeda's, are beautifully rendered, filled with quiet revelations and private fears. She writes introversion with dignity and insight, making it not just character trait, but legitimate motive strength. Emotional resonance of the novel lies in its attention to detail. The way Jaeda stiffens when touched unexpectedly, the way Quaid notices the pattern of her typing, the way their silences are charged with meaning. These small moments accumulate, creating relationship that feels lived in and true. Brown doesn't rush anything, and the novel is better for it. Themes and takeaways. Jaeda explores several themes with quiet power. The value of introversion in a world that rewards extroversion, trust not just between lovers, but between colleagues, families, and selves, healing from emotional self-erasure, learning to see yourself as deserving, capable, lovable. Love is steady force, not always dramatic one. Jaeda and Quaid is metaphors for intimacy, communication, and risk. It's also subtle celebration, a female intelligence. Jaeda's mind is her weapon, her shield, and ultimately her bridge to love. The novel never asks her to soften, to change, or to compromise who she is. Instead, it offers her partner who sees her precisely as she is and adores her for it. Final verdict. Jaeda's triumph of quiet storytelling. In genre that often favors bold personalities and dramatic plot twists, Kimberly Brown dares to center two introverts and tell a story rooted in intellect, patience, and trust. The result is deeply satisfying romance that rewards attentive reading and honors emotional complexity. Whether you're already a fan of the Dillinger Chronicles or new to the series, Jaeda offers something special. It's a love story for thinkers, the listeners, the quiet warriors, and for anyone who has ever wondered if they were too reserved for passion. Brown answers that question with a resounding no. And she does it with elegance, heart, and style. Rating 5/5. Moving, smart, and swoon-worthy romance that proves sometimes the quietest stories echo the loudest.